What's up, everybody? I'm Brett Mouse and this is GreasePunk661. In my last video I mentioned finding a project for the Will It Run video motor here. It's been hanging on a stand long enough. We need to find a project for it and get it in there and move forward with the project. Now, I wasn't just going to get a add a motor, car is done type project. I want a full build project. Start with something rough, do some repairs, do some modifications, do some fabrication, and go forward. Now, laced into this series of videos, I'm also going to have videos of working on the 69 auto stick due to 1, ordering parts and waiting on parts, 2, that's an ongoing project in itself, and break up the monotony and spread out where the finances per project need to go. I'd like to invite you along for the ride, watch the series, watch my mishaps, and maybe we can learn something together because I'm no Volkswagen mechanic. Well, hey, let's go for a ride, let's pick this project up, and we'll reveal it to you after the intro. Alright, so we got our old crusty cherry picker out. We got everything set, ready to go. Got a couple old straps here that help us with our project. So let's see what we came up with. Alright, so there it is. We found this an old sand rail. It's been completely dismantled except for just the frame. I believe we have enough extra parts laying around to get it back together. So let's see what we can do to get it out of this truck. Well, if you've ever had a Jeep or any off-road toy with a winch on it, you know the value of a good clevis, and we're definitely putting that one to work today. Alright, it's out. Well, it's out of the truck. And let's get the truck out of the way and get this thing on the ground. Alright, but there it is. It's out of the truck. It's on the ground. Let's grab the other camera. Yeah, let's grab the other camera and take a walk around it. Look at what we got. Alright, well, here it is. Let's take a walk around it. And got a lot of just random welds like this one right here. You can tell where it's been beat on and you know, things have cracked and broke. And can do a little bit of grinding just to pretty up those welds. But we're not going to grind them completely out. They're pretty structural.
I got just a lot of spots where extra metal is, like this right here. Like I said, shift boot and whole thing it's wore out, but it still functions. Not to my favor though, so we're gonna have to replace that. Got a couple gussets up here for lights. That's pretty cool. We can maybe go across the inside with a light bar. I want to keep everything inside the cab. Might decide to do some sheet metal over the top of this and down the sides, front to rear. That way when turning and driving, you're not throwing a bunch of sand all over yourself. I don't know if I'd be a fan of sheeting over the front of it, but it'd be an idea. It just all depends on how crazy it all gets. So back here, these open areas, that's where the seats are going to be, so it's no big deal that it's open. That little bar runner from front to back right there, all the welds around it are pretty janky, so we're going to clean those up. Here where the frame horns meet the torque tube, they could use a little cleaning up. Now, I mean, this thing's not going to be any kind of a beauty queen. Going to be a thrash and trash desert buggy, so we can get away with some of the trash. I really like the way this engine cage, it bolts into the back here, and then has this little piece of pipe that's going to protect your bolt, and it slides over some horns right there. So just take those two bolts out and bang on it a little bit, get that out. I don't understand what this is over here, unless this had like a Toyota motor in it and that held the radiator. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. A lot of people do upgrade rails to Toyota motors, but this one won't, so we'll be cutting that off. And up here we have some shock mounts. That's going to give us some long shocks on this thing. We'll have to measure those out, figure out what it needs, but for the most part it's pretty square and fair. Just got to figure out what we want to do and what needs to be done. Here's another spot right here. We got a weld we can clean up. It's been cracked or re-welded before, but for the most part it looks pretty fair. It looks like it's going to get the job done. So really looking forward to getting this thing put together. Maybe we can go ahead and clean up them front brackets today and take that the front end off that buggy pan we had from the Will It Run video. That motor came on a little, it's called a Willy buggy, and take the front end off of that, and the rear suspension also, stab it up underneath this, and we'll at least have something to roll around. Over there in the corner of my garage is a steering column that came out of a car. Well, actually the Zombie Killer Baja that's been parted out time and time again. That steering column came out of that, so we'll just get a carrier bearing to bolt in right there, and we'll have a steering column and really be moving forward. I do have a fuel cell. The fuel cell came with it. It's going to bolt in back here at these two brackets, and then there's a battery rack underneath it. I don't think I'll be using that battery rack. Just it's kind of nice that it's that close to the stroder, but you know, for what we're doing, I'd like to put some weight up front anyways. So I'd probably put the battery rack out here, or right here, some holes where there was an army can, to hold tools and spare parts and stuff. I might use that space right there for a battery rack. But for now, let's wire wheel these beam holders right here and see if we can get a beam up underneath it.
Alright, now we're going to clean up our little couplers here where our beam's going to clamp up. We're going to clean those up with the wire wheel, and once we get that all cleaned up, we'll find that front beam and get it knocked off of the bulkhead that it's bolted up to. Get it bolted on here and see what we can come up with. But before we can do that, need to take heed to warning from our buddy Gary over at VW Jawbreaker. And see how he says, eyes and ears. Eyes and ears. Let's go get that front end.
All right, there we have it. We have the front bulkhead with the beam connected to it, and got the back, well, the whole suspension set up actually right there. So if need be, we could just cut and weld that whole thing in. But for now, let's just worry about that front end. Alright, well, there's that. Let's get it unbolted. So far, easy enough.
Alright, so now we got this front beam and bulkhead in here. We're going to take our impact gun and 19mm socket. We're going to run this off of here. Yeah, let's make sure it's going the right way. I did say off. Alright, with that off of there, we're going to now zip off them brake lines right there, and we're not going to need them, not for a while, and we're going to be replacing them. So we're just going to cut those off, and so we can move forward with this. Once again, eyes and ears. Alright, well, I got the tripod down a little bit, but we're going to move that over here, see if we can't get it bolted up. just a little side note, over here on this driver's side, there's a steering limiter. You probably want to get out of the way to be able to get all this in there properly. Alright, well, heck, I don't know where I lost you guys. Camera cut out in the middle of getting this front end bolted on and mocked up. We're going to have to make some cuts. We'll move it back a couple inches, shorten up the car a little bit, and to get the spread for the beam. I'm not sure what beam they had on there before, but the beam I have obviously isn't it. It has a dinner. And has a different point of center as far as the two beams go. Well, that's it for today. I gotta get washed up, get to work. I'll see you guys on the next one.